Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, mi gente? It is your girl, Idylli, and you are on the Speak Easy with Idylli show. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's grow together. I'm so excited that you are here with me today. It is Tuesday, and you know we are going to have another fabulous episode. I cannot wait to bring on the guest, but before I do, I just want to continue to say thank you. And I know that sometimes it sounds repetitive, and yeah, I say the same thing every week, but it really means the world to me that you guys come every Tuesday and you share your time with me, right? With us, because it's me and a special guest, right? On the Speak Easy with Idylli show. And let's go, let's get it for all of my people who watch it on the replay, right? I see it. I see the DMs. I see the likes. I see the comments. I appreciate the love. Share this with somebody right now because it's going to be so good. Okay. And you don't want to miss what is about to go down. I'm really excited to bring this special guest. But before I do, I also want to talk about where we are. Listen, mi gente, we got 2 more days until the November 1st. The holiday season is upon us, right? Christmas stuff, of course, is already at the stores. And while I love the holidays, like I even let my son listen to Christmas music last week for a little bit. One day, that was it. I said, after that, we're waiting until after Thanksgiving to put it on. And I love Christmas music. The point is that while I love the holidays, I just don't want us to get lost in them. You guys know I'm always going to keep it real with y'all, right? A lot of the times we just forget it because it's the end of the year and we'll figure it out in 2025. And then the next year we're kind of saying the same thing because of that mentality. So we want to change that mentality and start growing into 2025 as of right now. Start setting your goals. You're not too late. It's okay. You are not too late. I promise you. If you don't know how and you don't know what you're doing, hit me up, okay? Hit me up. Let me know. I will guide you. But setting and getting it everything ready for 2025 so you can really, really enjoy the upcoming year, right? Because it's a quarter year, 2025. Most of us that watch this, I notice because I do the numbers, are my age. So we're in the second half of our lives. I know I got some younger folks and some older folks, but for the most part, it's between my age. And so we're in the second half of our lives, right? It's time to get it. The time to get it is now. If it's ever been the time. Someone posted the other day and they were like, oh, at this age, I really feel like this is the time when we live our best lives, right? And it's so true. Like the first however many years, that's what's practice. Like now we finally know what to do. Some of our kids are grown, even though some of us are still having babies, or some of us are grandparents. And it's just this transition in life that happens. And so we get to choose to love to understand that if you want to grow in your quarter year, that's next year, 2025, right? That it is time to start that process now. You are not too late. I promise you. Let's grow. Let's get it. Okay. But this is not about me. This is about our special guest. The Speak Easy with Idylli show always strives to bring you the baddest stories of the baddest women and some men that I've had on here too. We've done that little transition, and in their entrepreneurship, in their journeys, in their reach, in their goals for their life, so we can show you that if we can, you can do it too. Okay. If we can, you can do it too. And that's what the show is all about. And I'm really excited to announce our special guest. She is renowned fashion designer, right? Creator of House of Dani B. If you're not following it, after tonight, you will be. I guarantee you that. And so I'm super excited to bring her on the stage. Miss Danielle, are you here?
Hey, I'm here. How are you?
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh no, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you so much. We appreciate you, taking the time out. We see the little studio space already back there, and
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
I'm sitting here because it's my quiet spot.
I love it. I love it. I love that so much. And so I know we have a lot to dive into, but let's start. Let's start from the beginning, Danielle. I know that you're a fashion designer. You have some incredible designs, and you have some things that's coming up. But let's talk about where you began. Like, where were you born? Do you have brothers and sisters? Let's talk about that. Let's start there.
Okay, so I was born in Long Island, New York. Um, I have one sister, and one half brother. I am Colombian, Puerto Rican, Spaniard, and a little Arabic in there. So I'm pretty mixed.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get into like sharing all of my ethnicities, besides just like Colombian and Puerto Rican, because
Right.
my grandfather's from Spain and then my great great grandfather's from Lebanon. So I have like a whole bunch of beautifulness
Sure.
inside of me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I love that.
I'm a mom. I have two kids. I have a 7-year-old and I have a 19-year-old. She just turned 19 on the 16th of October. So I'm excited about that, or I'm happy about that. I am married. I just turned 40. So I'm the big 4-0. It's like I feel grateful to be this age and be healthy, but like how you were saying on your intro, it's like, okay, this is like the second half of my life, and you know just trying to enjoy myself more, take time to appreciate the little things and not always be like go 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 go.
Right? I feel like at this age we get this like our peace, like nothing is worth our peace. Like
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear whether you're family, whether you're a spouse, whether you're my kids. Like my peace is like so valuable right now. And so I can definitely understand where that's coming from. Well, you look fabulous,
Thank
girl.
you.
Okay, you look fabulous.
So do you.
And thank you. So it's funny. We'll talk a little later how we know each other, however, and how we ran back into each other.
I know.
So tell me. So you said you were born in Rhode Island, but you grew up here in Tampa, right?
Okay, so I've moved back and forth from New York to Florida multiple times. So my parents,
Mm.
my grandparents on my dad's side moved to Kissimmee. So when I was 2, my mom and dad moved down here. But then when I was like 8, we moved back to New York, and then we lived there for a couple of years. And then my mom and dad were going through custody battle. Long story short, they kidnapped me and my sister from each other like multiple times. So then my mom ended up having to come back to Florida so that way she could take my dad to court and like get custody of us, because she was all the way in New York. So we lived in Kissimmee. I was like in middle school. I remember everything by the grade I was in. I was like in middle school. So we lived in Kissimmee for a couple of years. And then from there, when I was in 7th grade, that's when we moved to Tampa. So I've been living in Tampa since I was in 7th grade. But then in 2011, I moved back to New York and I went to the Bronx. Well, I kind of lived like in Weehawken, New Jersey, and then moved to the Bronx for like 3-4 years. I was trying to pursue my career in fashion. Ended up living the hard knock life, and
Well,
then I
I
came
gotta stop
back.
you there. Yeah, I gotta stop you there because I know you said make a long story short. However, this is the moments that really create the push through, the beat up that we take in entrepreneurship, right? The failures, but you're gonna make it anyway. So when you talk about, having to go through that, I mean, that's a lot for a kid, right? Like dad says, no, you're living with us. Mom's like, no, you're living with us, and you're here, being pushed back and forth and basically, being legally, illegally kidnapped, but legally, because I mean, you weren't taken in the back of a car, but
Girl, no, like, okay, so my dad shows up to New York, right? And my mom was working. He picks us up from my titi's house, and then he takes us back to my grandma's house where we were living. And he's like, do you girls want to come back to Florida? And of course, we were like, yeah, Poppy, we want to go with you.
yeah.
And then he just packs a couple of our stuff, and boom, we go to Florida, and my mom has no idea.
Oh my word. Oh my God, Daniel. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if my mom's out there, like, let us know, like, how would you? I couldn't imagine coming home and my kids are not home. Like,
Yo, my mom, I mean, I can't really remember because it happened so long ago. So I can't really, I mean, obviously, I mean, there was no cell phones, there was no any of that, you know what I mean? So then we ended up in Florida. Papi enrolled us in school. Lo and behold, I can't remember exactly how much time passed, but guess who's picking us up from school one day? Mommy. And what does she do? She takes us back to New York.
oh my
Okay.
goodness. I bet you she didn't even ask. She was just like, we going.
Yeah, no, and then like my dad, it was just is not to shame either one of
No, no,
them, because
no,
they're,
no.
you know,
Yes.
in
They
their
both
going
love
through
you
their
and they
own
dealt with
thing.
their things. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know what I mean? And
Exactly.
so, because I love both of them dearly. So
Right.
so then mommy takes us back to New York. And because my dad had said, you know, like all these things, and of course he's probably talking things about my mom to us that he shouldn't be. And so like
Mm.
I was older because I'm 2 years older than my sister. So so when mommy came to pick us up, I was sitting there like this, like,
Oh,
and she was like, she didn't care. She took us right back to New York, girl.
matched.
So then that summer, my aunt, which is my dad's sister, they have a really good relationship. And she called, Janet, I really miss the girls. I'll pay for their round trip tickets. And my mom was like, Lulu, but you have to make sure, you have to promise me. I don't mind sending them, but you have to promise me that you're gonna send them back.
Right.
We never made it back. This
Right.
time, Papi went to court. He got like a temporary custody thing, blase squaze. That's when mommy had to move to Kissimmee, get an apartment, get a job, do all the things, go to court to get us back.
Right. Wow. And this is a time where mothers were favored. You know, now they've changed a lot of the laws because some mothers don't need to be favored, but mothers were favored in Florida. So all she had to do was get her, get her stuff and say, hey, I want my kids. And they were going to give them back,
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, everything my dad was saying, it wasn't true, because my mom was a good mom. You know what I mean? It's not like we were neglected. It's not like we were, it was nothing like that. You know, he was just hurt.
Right.
And,
Right. He was, and this goes with any human, and this goes in life. This is a life lesson, you guys. Like at the end of the day, I really believe there's three sides to every story: his, hers, the truth, right? Because people are going to tell it off of their emotions. You and I can go through something and it's going to feel completely different, right?
Yeah.
And so when I talk about it, that's why when you're with a partner or family or there's arguments, we have to understand that people's point of view is not going to be the same as yours, right?
No, and then you also have to think like what I've done in order for me to like understand where mommy came from, where papi came from, was putting myself in their shoes in that time, in that generation, the way they were brought up, the way they were taught to handle things. You know, Latin culture, everything is shh, hush.
Girl.
Nothing happened. No vamos a hablar de nada.
Yes.
Sweep it under the rug.
Under the rug. I just
No,
said that.
You
A
don't
couple
tell
weeks ago,
nobody, like it
Yep.
never happened, and that's
Yep.
bad. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's bad. So me being able to do that, I'm able to understand my parents a little bit better. So then that way I don't hold all of these questions or like resentments or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
That's good. That's good. But again, it taught you a lot. One, I'm sure you were taking care of your sister, so there came that part of it, right, through the whole process. And then, like you said, you had the attitude, and I'm sure, I don't know if you see this yet or not, but this is where your strength and your power, and you know what I mean, these things that have pushed you through to be successful in what you are doing and see success has to do with you handling and going through that. You know what I mean? Like it's so crazy how it's connected, but it really, really is. So you move here, you're going to middle school here, and you get to high school. And do you always knew you wanted to be a fashion designer, or is just something?
I've always been into fashion since I was little. My mom always dressed me and my sister like in the latest trends. My grandmother on my father's side, she taught me how to hand sew. And then I have an aunt on both sides that they both sew, and they would make clothes. Because back then people made clothes for their home versus going out and buying the way we do now, right? And so it's actually a dying art. Sewing is a dying art, and everybody, this generation, they don't even know how to put a button on.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, so I always had like that interest. But when I was in high school, my grandparents are always like, oh, I need to study something that I can have a career and that's going to be solid. And so I was really interested in the health field. So when I graduated high school, I graduated with my CNA, with my nurse's assistant, and that's what I did out of high school. But my mistake was that I went straight into working into a nursing home. I actually worked at Excel Nursing Rehab right over there off of oh my God, Bruce B. Downs, and like in between Fletcher and Fowler. It's over there. Yeah. So I worked there for like almost 2 years, but my experience there was horrible. It was horrible because I was a damn good nurse. Like I treated all the viejitos like they were my grandparents.
Yeah.
And I was young. I was full of fire and passion.
Right.
And you know, if I saw nurses doing things that they weren't supposed to do, like I would call them out on it. I'm like, oh.
And you have this natural compassion, so I can see that.
Yeah. And so, but what happened? I would get attached to my patients, and then they would pass. You know what I mean? And so that was so hard on me. Like I remember there was this lady, her name was Ernest Schuler. She was German. She had Alzheimer's. She was perfectly healthy one day. Me and her were like, that was like my buddy. You know what I mean? That was, you know, she would tell me stories about the bakery her and her husband had. She loved sweet food. So in the mornings, I'd make sure her oatmeal was like, I'd make it good, you know, like put sugar and cream, and, you know, because it comes out of the kitchen and it's all
bland.
Yeah. So I would wait for her, and I would have to help her take a shower. And because if you know the disease, then you understand that people who have Alzheimer's or dementia, they become
lose their motor skills.
Yeah, no, and they become combative, like they want to fight you. You know what I mean? And so like I just had a way of dealing with people. So I leave one weekend on a Friday. I had off that weekend. I come back and she passed. And I was just like, what do you mean? I was like, she was perfectly healthy when I left. Like what happened? She fell because that's all it takes. That's why to anyone out there that has elderly parents or grandparents, you have to please make sure that they don't fall. All it takes is for them to fall once and they can pass, you know, something breaks, or, you know, like their hip, or I don't know. And so that it was very detrimental for me because she was my baby. You know, and then I had another lady come in. She had she was on hospice, and she had bone cancer, and she was Spanish. She was Puerto Rican, and it took me and another nurse to change her. And you know, she has bone cancer, so you just do like this, and she's screaming.
And it hurts. Yeah.
She's screaming in pain. She was saying, déjame sucia, no me toca, no me toca. And me and the other nurse were literally crying. Obviously, she passed. Like, it's just so many people, you know, a nursing home, basically, that's what it is. It's where people go to and they pass away all the time. So it was, and then on top of that, the head nurse, she would write me up for stupid things. And I was young, you know, I was fresh out of high school. Like, I didn't know, I didn't have to agree. Like, I got written up for, okay, so I took my lunch break, and then I had a patient. She was double amputee, right? So before I left, I checked her. She was clean. You know what I mean? My lunch break is a whole hour. A lot can happen in 1 hour.
Yeah, for sure.
She had a bowel movement. She had a BM, right? I have no control over that. But the family came in and they find her like that. So automatically, you know, so then I explained that to my head nurse, and she still wrote me up for that. And then she wrote like little dumb things like that. And then I said, you know what, screw this. If this is what the health field is all about, I'm done. I'm out. I am out. So then that's when I went, and my grandfather took me, or me and him went together, may he rest in peace, to the Academy of Design and Technology. And then I enrolled there, and then I literally like instantly like just really fell even more in love with fashion, and just honed in on like all my, you know, honed in on everything. And then I graduated. Well, then I ended up getting pregnant with
I want to go back real quick, because I think it's important for people to understand when you're not walking in your calling, right? Like your calling will develop your purpose, right? When you're working on something you love, it'll develop your purpose and what it's meant for. And I say that because this is why you kept getting pushed back at CNA. Like, it wasn't working out. These things are happening. You're feeling all these ways. It's because you have a gift, right? You have a talent that's literally been given to you. Not everybody can do that. Like, as you know, like it might seem like, oh, there's so many people in the fashion industry to you. However, in the real world out here in this industry, there's not, right? And it's a small percentage of super talented people who are able to pursue these types of dreams, right? And so you weren't working in that calling. So I'm super proud of you for saying, you know what, I'm gonna go, because you could have just got another nursing job, right? You could have just said,
well, I was tired of boohoo crying. Because I would cry, like literally lose losing Erno, she was like my family. And that short amount of
Yeah.
time that I cared for her, she was like, you know, she was my, like I said, she was my baby.
Right.
Like, I'll never forget her name, Erna Schuler. I still
Oh,
remember how she looks and everything. Like, and I'm just,
I love
but a lot
that.
of people told me that I should have went to work in a hospital and
Yeah.
not a nursing home. That's the worst setting. I said, well, I guess that just wasn't meant for me.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't. It was not lined up for you. That you were meant to go through that experience to show you that this is not where you were supposed to be, because you ended up at the school, and then so you're at school. You're in school. You're falling in love with fashion even more. Tell us about that. How does that for you?
Yeah, so girl, let me tell you. So in order for me to get to school, I didn't have a car, right? But I was super determined. I used to have to take a bus. I used to catch the bus from Bruce B. Downs and Fletcher, that big bus station that they have over there by University.
Mhm.
I'd have to catch a bus from there all the way to Hillsborough Avenue and wait an hour for the next bus to come down Hillsborough to take me down to right before the veterans, right before the veterans. So I'd get off the bus and I'd have all my stuff, because I'd have my portfolio, my
Yeah.
sewing box, my book bag with my books, and I would have to walk from before the veterans, where the bus stop is, and walk cross Hillsborough and walk down to George Road, because it was on George Road.
Wow.
So
And
I
let me
did.
tell you, for all my people that are not watching this from Tampa, first of all, we do not have transportation. Like, I mean, it's getting better, but especially back then, we didn't have, the buses came every hour, 2 hours if you're lucky. Like, it was not something like New York or Chicago where you could just jump on it and it's fast. It's not. And then, like she said, this was back then too. So we actually had to walk almost everywhere. Like, if you didn't have a vehicle in Tampa back in the 90s, it was not it. Like, it was not how it is now, city life. So that wow, like,
Yeah,
kudos.
and then one of my professors, she really liked me, and then she would give me a ride home. She would tell
Mm.
me, she would be like, "You can't tell nobody because I'll get in trouble." I was like,
Right,
"Your secret
right.
is safe
You're
with
like,
me,"
amen. I
because
won't
she
tell.
lived close
Thank
to
you,
where
Jesus.
I lived. So it's not like she was going out of the way. So when she
Right.
found out that I was taking the bus and doing all that stuff, she was like, "Oh, no, no, no." So the nights that she could, she would, she would drop me off at home.
That's awesome. So how long were you at the school?
Okay, so then I enrolled in school, and then I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, and then I had to take some time off. Right.
Mm,
So then I had to take some time off. I had to be a mom. I was young. I had my daughter when I was 21. So
mm,
and then by the time she was after she turned 1, then I re-enrolled myself in school. And then by that time I had a car and and a job and all that stuff. But I was still going through things like with her dad and with with her father. And so me and him ended up breaking up because I was just super determined on just pursuing on what I wanted. I've always been that way. I'm very goal oriented. I'm like, okay, very real. I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. This is what you
right.
know what I'm saying. So after I
Mm.
got my bearings on like being a mom and all that stuff, then me and her dad ended up breaking up. That was okay. And then this was like around 2008 when the economy crashed. I ended up having to move to Altamont Springs because I got a good job and a cheap apartment over there.
Mm,
Good job and a cheap apartment. It was actually Naomi's uncle that hooked me up. And so what I would do was, and at the time my grandmother had an at-home daycare. So I would stack my classes. Excuse me. I'd stack my classes. So I would leave Sunday because I worked Sunday. So I'd get off of work on Sunday. We'd leave Sunday. I'd go to school Monday. And then Tuesday night, I'm driving back to Altamont with my daughter. We
mm,
get home depending on what time my classes let out, but I was younger, so I had the
yeah,
energy, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
thankfully I had my grandmother that was able to help me watch my daughter, because my daughter was probably like 3
right,
years old.
right.
And so I was able to do that, but I was able to still, like back then, girl, my rent was only $500, okay,
Yes. Oh my
for a
God.
2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and that
I
was
know someone who literally moved to Tarpon Springs, which has kind of been the same thing, going outside in this day and age, because they found a 2 bedroom for $1,000, 2 bedroom. I'm like, girl, I would have moved too. Like, I would have drive.
Seriously?
Yes, $1,000. I was like, wow, for a 2 bedroom, that's crazy. I mean, they're 1,500 and up easily, right? In these nowadays.
It's
And I was just
ridiculous.
like, yeah, I know. So I feel you on, moving far for the less rent, having your mom, having, your grandma help you, raising your daughter, going to school, taking the bus, using your car, doing all of these things that, we get to choose to love, to understand that yes, you were doing it, you were younger and you were able to do it, but like it is what made you, like it is why you keep going the way you do now. And it's just a part of your story, and it's an incredible part of your story. People see the glamour and they're like, yeah, I want to do
Yeah,
this.
it's not all glitz and glam, let me tell you.
Exactly.
And then like the one thing is like, yeah, okay, I went to school, I studied fashion, I got a degree, but they didn't teach me to work for myself. Two completely different things. I was taught to work for someone else, not to work for myself. So okay, so let's rewind. So where'd I leave off? Okay, so then I graduated, right? I graduated in 2010 with my associates, and then I was trying to get my bachelor's degree. Is that supposed to? Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, did I do something?
No, that was me. I'm putting it out there. How's the Dani B?
Caught me off guard. Okay, so then that's when I decided to move to New York. I was almost done with my bachelor's, but I was hungry. Like I was like, I didn't want to be in school no more. I already got my associate. I was literally almost done with my bachelor's, and I was like, on a whim, I said, I'm gonna go to New York. So I stayed with a friend someone who I thought was my friend, and Weehawken, New Jersey. After X amount of time, she ended up kicking me out on the streets. I had no one out there. I had reconnected with a friend from middle school from here, from Tampa, reconnected with her. She let me go sleep on her couch. Now, mind you, I didn't have my daughter with me. I had left my daughter with my mom, so that way I could figure all this out. So then she ends up kicking me out because we got into a huge fight. You know what I'm saying? And then I had met my dear friend Kelly. We're still friends to this day. Like, you meet someone and you just like automatically like,
yeah,
this
very
is
few.
Person.
Yes.
Yeah, very few. But with Kelly, it was like instant. And Kelly, she came through for me. She was like, all right, Dani, you can come, you can stay on my couch. Obviously, I had a job, I was doing what I had to do. I literally slept on Kelly's couch probably for like 4 months.
Wow.
I paid her what I needed to pay. I helped out because she has her son. When I could, I would help watch him. She had things to do, blase squaze. Then I was finally able to save up enough money to get my own apartment. And that's how I ended up in the Bronx. So then I got my own apartment, and then I got it all ready. I hooked it up, everything. And then that's when I brought my daughter. And then my daughter came to live with me. But then in New York, I was going on interview after interview after interview. I was working all the free shows. I was interning with all the independent designers, and just nothing wasn't giving.
Wow.
It just, and I was I wanted to move into a better neighborhood. I wanted my daughter to go to a better school. I wanted a hoopty. Like I wanted a hoopty because the Bronx is a little bit more suburban than like Manhattan.
Yeah.
And like, so that way I could just go do compra and not have to like take cab service and be pushing around this little coche, and I can only buy but so much food. You know what I mean? So then I ended up coming back to Florida. And then after that, that's when I decided that I was going to start my own brand.
Gotcha.
I missed, I was like, okay, well, there's no fashion jobs here in Tampa. I was like, well, what am I going to do? And then I was like, well, I'm just going to start my own brand.
Yes, I love that.
And then I started putting myself into like little fashion shows. Like I think the first fashion show I did was at USF. There was a group there, an organization there that they do something in fashion. And that was the first show I did. So that pushed me to kind of like put like a little collection together. And then from there, I connected with Dejeuner. She's one of my best friends now. We had actually went to school together, so we were already crossing each other's paths. And then and then Dejanay helped, oh my God, girl, because she's just like me, come on, you got to put yourself in shows so that way you can push yourself. Putting yourself in a show is pushing yourself to actually do a collection and to think about that. You know what I mean? Because
Now, I know that these are going to pop up here and they're more newer than your older days that you're talking about. But I love that I seen these on your I thought I had another one. It was another one. It was an actual model. I couldn't do the video. I wanted to do the video so bad, but she was like coming out, and you had this big House of Danny B behind you, and it's a fashion show. And I just love that. You went all in on your dreams. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna start my own brand, right? You didn't just give up. You didn't go get a regular job. And even if you had to support things while you were doing stuff, the point is that you went all in and you got your band. So you meet Dejanay. She's telling you got to go into shows, right?
Yeah, well, that's what she was telling me in the beginning. Now I'm staying away from shows because now I'm at the point where these local shows really aren't doing much for me, and it's too much work, to just design a collection around whatever their theme is. I'm all for charity, I'm all for philanthropy, I'm all for that. But like these shows are more so for like entertainment. Nobody buys anything, nobody places an order. So now it doesn't make sense for me to do that anymore unless I'm doing my own show or unless I'm gonna cough up them racks to go to New York or LA or my
you know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some of these designs I have here. First of all, let's pull this out. Look at this guy. Look at this girl. Oh, you look so fierce right here. Like that is boss Danny B all the way. I love it. So tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, so this is my love story collection. So I'm trying to focus in on the beautiful gowns that I make, and I'm really working hard towards telling my story. And so I'm telling my story is through color, right? And I'm trying to invoke the feeling of love, like that's because when I think glam and I think and not love like being in a relationship with someone, more like loving yourself. Like you get dressed for yourself. Yeah, okay, if you're in a relationship, yeah, of course you want your man to look at you and be in awe and all the things, but more so it's about doing it for you because how it makes you feel. And so that's what I'm trying to convey with this collection. So I'm doing it in a series of colors. So I just did red. I've been trying to shoot the gold because I have gold coming up, but because of these past two hurricanes, I've been having to push everything back. But that's coming up on the 11th. I think we're going to shoot it. So hopefully by the beginning of December, I'll be able to, post the
gold. Now, is this just the one? Is this?
Yeah.
It is, right? I know when I see it, I'm like, oh, she has a picture working on it. I thought that was so cool to see you like, putting it together. And like, I want to ask you, how does it feel in these moments when you're like, you have this design, like to walk us through the process really quickly. Because I have some other pictures that I want to talk about, but walk us through the process. So like you get this creative idea, you draw it. How does it feel when you have it come to life? What do you think? Like, how does it work?
So I'm often inspired by music, by my emotions. I could even be inspired by like something that I smell. You know what I mean? And so I just so when I sit down and I'm trying to create something, I just pull from that, and then I just,
you have a sketchbook, right? Like your
I do digital sketches now.
Oh, okay.
Well, I do my sketches, or sometimes I don't even really sketch. Like if I'll just make whatever. Like for example, like this in the back, I didn't sketch this out. I mean, it's all pinned up and it's all weird looking. I didn't sketch this, but it's just like something that I had in my head, So so then I will so that inspires me, and then I just like what so when I'm designing, I want my girl or my woman to feel like the belle of the ball, whether they're in a gown, like to have that iconic like wow moment, like that, because I have a huge imagination. And so when I envision my girl walking into an establishment, a business meeting, or going out, a gala or whatever, because I design everything from gowns to swimwear to ready to wear, like regular stuff that you would wear on a day-to-day basis. Like I just want her to feel beautiful, confident, iconic. You know what I mean? Like I want her to put it on and be like, oh my God, this fits me so good. The fabric feels so good. And I never want to take this off.
Yes, I love that. And here's the thing. I tell this all the time. Like when you have a brand, that's the goal. And this is whether you're in selling a dress, whether you're selling a piece of jewelry, even a lot of people are doing t-shirt brands now. Like own that t-shirt and want them, don't think of it as just a t-shirt. Like you want that when they look in that body mirror and they put that t-shirt on, they feel it, right? Like they understand where it's coming from. And so I love that I say that all the time. I love that you say that. I think it's super important. And, your creative jeans, the way you're flowing in them, and just knowing that when House of Dani B is in the closet, like it's another level. When they pull it out the hanger, they go to match it up. Like it's just another level. And I think that's an incredible feeling. And that's exactly what you're spilling out. Now talk to us about this. This is such a cute ad. I love it. I think this is an older one. Is this an older one?
Well, I did this in February. So this was my Dolce Vita collection, inspired by the Italian mob wife. So on set the whole time, we were like, Mr. Sheffield done. And I was telling the girls, I was like, because I have a video of them too, and you can see them talking, and they're like doing like this, and and I'm like, yo, Vinny, where's my money? Like,
all in character, all in character.
I have so much fun on set with, that I love when everything comes together. That's just like an awe moment for me, because it all, and I did the whole setup. So really what I was doing with this picture was I was inspired by the campaign that Dolce & Gabbana did with Kim K, where there's a picture of her and she's doing the same thing with spaghetti. And I'm like, man, I wonder if I could pull that off. It would be really fun to see if I can push my models, because I always like to push my models too. And this is Bella Gray. She's my house model. I absolutely adore working with her. She's literally like the best, one of the best models that I have worked with to this date. And so it was her. And then the other girl was Ashley, and Ashley had the cowl neck front and back, glittery, and then my hair and makeup team was on point.
They did incredibly. I mean, she looks fabulous. Like you wouldn't like everything. And I love the spaghetti look. I love the wine look. Like I get this feeling like she had an incredible night out, and she's just, enjoying her food from there. Like I love all of it. I think that this was super.
And I did the whole setup. I bought those wine glasses. I cooked the spaghetti. I set the table. I did all, you know what I mean? Like that was all me. And then RJ, he was the one that did the photography and the videography. We did it in his studio. So it all came together really, really. I was actually really proud of that.
I love that.
Actually, one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's actually great, and it's great. It's why I picked it out, because I'm like, oh my God, it just stands out. Like it just talks to you, right? Like it's like her eyes, like the whole thing, the image together, it just speaks to you. And so I did want to say, Romika, she talks about, oh my God, there's some comments coming in here. I would be devastated. This is the earlier story. Then Kina's talking about yes, and that was towards when we were talking about feeling good and loving yourself. Alicia Santiago, which is my friend Blanca, she says, I need to connect with her. She's like, I need to connect with you. So she will definitely make sure you connect. I put her, let me put it back. This is her Instagram here, and this is her Facebook, how it looks. So definitely you can send a DM. Also, we're going to be putting her link, because like she says, she has these fashion designs, but she also has a collection to where she sells online with some really cute tops, some really cute bottoms and things like that. And so we'll definitely make sure we connect that on here. And then let me go back to the comments. And then Kina again just now said, a little earlier said, wow, because it's true. The way that you're speaking about your brand, like the passion, we can feel it. We can hear it, right? We can see it. And so I love that. Now I know that this was like a last year collection, but I had to pull it up because I thought it was so cute.
So this is okay. So I also designed for Shein X. So this was one of my designs for Shein. It was a houndstooth trench coat, super cute. Everybody loved this. This sold out so fast. I don't even think it's available anymore. I might have. I don't know, because I always get a whole bunch of free stuff. Like they send me merch, you know what I mean? And then I just randomly give it away because I can't hold on to it. And you know, and they mass produce it and they sell it on their website. So it's I don't sell it on my website, but it was a favorite right here.
Yeah. It's adorable. I mean, I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. This is adorable. I love it. And then I want to talk about this.
Oh my God.
Girl, I love that you are powerful. You could be a model on your own, okay?
Oh my, you have no idea how hard this photo shoot was for me, okay? This photo shoot was so hard for me. Like,
really?
It was, yeah. My good friend Chris Applegate, he did the pictures for me in his photography studio. And when he sent them to, because I'm like very like, you know, when you envision something to be a certain way. And I just feel like I, you know, with all the pictures that I took, I was like, I should have just smiled. But then when I sent it to a couple of people and I got their opinion, they're like, no, you look good.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, oh, I do? I'm like, okay, so maybe it's just me then.
Yeah, no, it is just you, girl. This is fierce. Like you see it in your eyes, the pout. And then I love it because it's not your series. You have this pout, this natural looking like series pout. Girl, no, this is good. This is beautiful. Like, yes, no, I love that. And I love that, you know, you're able to like do this and really just because like, you know, they say those that can't wed plan, those that can't do teach, right? So like it's harder for you because you tell the models, you dress them, you have the design. So when you're on the other side of that, it's a little difficult, right? But it
is.
Oh my God. You shine. So let's talk to me a little bit about this. What is it? HODB, House of Dani B. In case you didn't know.
So my little like slogan or my little saying is going beyond the fashion statement. We make you iconic. Because that's what I want, you know, that's what I want my girls to feel. I always want to create an iconic moment for whoever's wearing, you know, my brand. And so I did that. That was just like a little advertisement that I did to get, you know, if you want to sign up to the text messages, and I send out like exclusive specials and stuff like that.
Now let me tell you that these are on random, okay, guys. Mi gente, Danielle does not know that these are popping up, and so I picked this one because I love the image. I love the wording inside of the photo. I did not know this was your saying. I love that so much.
Thank you.
I'm like, oh yeah, I picked the perfect one. Like that is so good. So listen, going beyond the fashion statement, we make you iconic. I love that, right? Iconic is a whole nother level, okay? And so I thank you so much for sharing that here with us. I love it. So we're going close on time. Let me pull up a couple more things. Now, I'm sad that I didn't get a picture of your daughter. Now she helps you. I think the last time we spoke, she helps you in this industry, or she was for a little bit.
When I really, really, really need her, she helps me. But, you know, she just turned 19 and, you know, she has her own little social life and stuff like that. And she works and she's busy and stuff. So like, but whenever I have like pop-ups or if I need help in backstage or whatever, she comes and she helps me. Yeah.
Now, I felt bad because I did have a picture of this little guy.
Oh, that's my baby.
He's so handsome.
Thank you. That was the first day of second grade, and yep, that's my baby.
He is so handsome. I'll tell you, you know what's crazy? We are different ages, but we have similar. Like my daughter is 18, and my son is in third grade. He's gonna be 9.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I have the older one that's 21, right? Out of the house, huh?
It's a huge gap, but it's been kind of nice because you don't have like a whole bunch of little ones, you know,
running around at the same time. To be completely honest, I say this all the time. I'm like, sometimes when I'm ironing uniforms, I'm like, what was I thinking? I could have been done. Like, I'm ironing uniforms in third grade. I have a senior, like, and the one that graduated. We could have been done. Like, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
But he was the only one planning, and he definitely completed our lives. So I
That's
definitely don't
good.
regret him. But it's just funny at those times. I think like, oh my gosh. But he's so your baby's so handsome. And then I have this one because I thought it was cool to see you in your work mode. Like, I think you may have been promoting here or something. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, because I used to have kind of like my design studio was downtown, like right behind Eddie and Sam's, and so I would have days where I would go out and just like pass out flyers because I made it a shoppable boutique, but I ended up having to move out of there.
Yes, I
And
remember.
yeah, I had to move out of there because there was a termite infestation, and I couldn't have like termites all over my
No.
all over my fabric, and it was bad. Like, it was bad because a lot of those buildings down there are really, really old,
Old.
like really, really old, and so they were never, and like the roof was all like open, like the ceiling, and it was all wood beams. I mean, it was a beautiful location, but they could never get rid of. I was there for like almost 2 years, I think, because
Yeah.
before that I was in West Tampa. So then I decided to move home. I got a storage, or I call it my warehouse because I'm turning it into my warehouse. And now I'm just working out of home. I will have my next location coming up next year in April. I'm just right now I'm just looking for a location that's gonna serve me best, because I was so excited to get out of West Tampa from the old cigar building that I was in, that like I didn't think about parking down. So
Yeah.
I was spending so much money a month in parking. It was like literally between $200 to $300.
Yeah.
Girl, I racked up tickets. My car got booted. One time my car got towed. I was like, when my car got booted, that was it for me.
Yeah.
Between my car getting booted and because like moms, we wait for the last dying minute to go pick up our kids, right? I'm like, okay, I have everything down, like, okay.
To the minute.
And boom. So, so I could do something, finish something else. And then I got down there and my car was booted, and I literally.
Is it still yellow? Is it still yellow? Was it yellow?
Still yellow. Okay?
I haven't seen a boot in forever.
Girl, I was like, this cannot be my life right now.
Right.
I am trying to work. I'm like,
Right.
this is ridiculous. The city of Tampa literally should do something for the business owners down there,
Right.
because it's like I had to pay to go to work, but that was my fault because I didn't think about that. Literally, the day when I was moving was when I said, oh shit, I gotta pay for parking. I was like, I was like, oh my God, I didn't
It's because
even.
sometimes we get so excited and so that we forget to do, think of the little things or check off the boxes that, do the big picture.
I definitely didn't check off
Mhm.
that box. Yeah, and
That's
so
totally okay. But you live and you learn. So now you have your warehouse, you're doing things there. You're going to open up a location. You're also going to be starting something soon. I don't know if you were ready to mention that. Were you ready to mention that?
yeah.
Okay. So she's going to be starting a
new website. I'm revamping a whole bunch of stuff. Not rebranding, but I'm just revamping. I'm working on my website being more user friendly, so that way people feel more confident when they go on my website. And then just launching my new location in April.
Love that. Yeah.
And then prom season is coming up. So I'm having me and my friend Dejeuner. The name of her brand is Dejeuner Bianca. We're going to be doing a prom expo. I believe in ending of January, beginning of February. So
Send me that. I have a senior. She's going to prom.
Oh,
Send me that.
yes.
I would love to attend, be a part of it. Like anything that you need help, volunteers, anything. Let me know.
Yes, and we got to get her in a dress, like custom.
Oh, yes.
The prom dress is the second most expensive dress that a girl buys, and the first is the wedding dress.
Listen, she's going to homecoming, and I was like, girl, we're going minimal because we're going to do your prom is coming up. We just handle your prom business. Like right now, just go, we're going minimal. So yeah, give me the details on that. That's so exciting. And so how about, talk to me about this because we're running low on time here.
Well, this actually, we had to cancel this because Dejeuner, where Dejeuner's studio is it got really messed up by the hurricane. So the
Oh.
insurance people for the building came in, and then she has to move her stuff to a different room. So
Mm.
because of that, because me and her were doing it together, we were marketing it together. And I told her, I said, you know what, girl? I said, it is totally okay. I don't
Yeah.
want to stress about it. I was like, what's meant to be is supposed to be. And if this wasn't meant, then it's, it's okay.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
totally okay.
no, for real. This storm, I know it did that a lot, and you don't
Yeah,
want to force
it
something.
affected a lot of people.
Yeah, and you don't want to force something at that time because it just
Right.
doesn't come out right. I do have Kina here saying, well, I have Elisa first of all saying I will be following her on IG and DMing her. Then she also said we're our biggest critic. We sure are, girl. And then Kina, which is the founder of a Hearts of Velour, the nonprofit organization, is having a gala in December, which I'm really excited about. She's saying she needs some gowns. So
Oh,
definitely you guys
yes, of
connect.
course.
Yes, you guys connect. And
I got you, girl.
yeah, yeah, I'm super excited to be at that event. And, on the Speakeasy show, we'll actually talk about that more a couple episodes down on that event coming up in December. But yes, definitely, definitely connect. That's what this is about. That's what these shows are for, so that we can connect each other and really just support each other and grow in our different endeavors and partner up and do different things, right? And so this has been such an incredible time. Thank you so much. If I keep going, we can keep chatting. Well, I do want to say, I know, right? I do want to say the story because I think it's funny. So we're at Pamela Pacheco's event. Both of us were in this event, and I look at her, and it's a luncheon. It's a beautiful luncheon. We're having a great time, and I'm like, man, she looks so familiar, right? And I'm like, hey, and she's looking at me. She's like, I don't know. And then I'm like, I always say, because anybody who knows me knows my brothers and sisters, or if you know my brothers and sisters, like, so I'm like, do you know Junebug and Gigi? She's like, oh my man, I came out of Gigi's King set.
Remember? Oh my God. Yo,
I should have posted that picture.
You should have. Gigi's King set was lit. Girl,
Yeah.
we practiced the suavemente.
Yeah.
That dress, my mom didn't want to let me wear that dress, but I wore that dress, girl. Oh my God. We had that was like the party of the year.
It really was. And it was such a great time. And I remember that. And as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh yeah. So her and my sister, as you can see, she told her age, so she's younger than me. Her and my sister went to middle school together, right? And so that's how that connection happened. They were really good friends. She came out in Gigi's King set, and I ended up seeing her years later at this event. And of course, when I seen everything she was doing, I'm like, she got to be on the show. Like, she has to be on the show because, like, I'm proud of you. Like, it's such a big deal. Like,
So
it's not
much.
light. I understand. Listen, we only have an hour, so we can't sit here and talk about everything Danny's been through. There's ups, there's downs, there's times where I'm sure you wanted to quit, times where you wanted to give up, times where you're like, oh my gosh, but you're here, and the pictures speak for themselves, and the events, and this is only the beginning, girl. I pray nothing but blessings. I'm still gonna ask you like two more questions, but I pray nothing but blessings over your life, over your brand, over the people that you are going to touch, through your dresses, through your outfits, through everything that you do, girl, because you have a talent and a half. But not only do you have the talent, you have the will, right? And because the Lord Jesus Christ is spirit in you, to go out there and get it. And that's the big difference, because there's a lot of talented people who are just sitting at home watching Netflix right now, right?
And let me tell you, it is by the grace of God that I am where I am today. That's the truth. That's the truth. Because, girl, let me tell you, I have been in some really dark, as we all have, dark places. And if I didn't choose to lean on Papa Dios, I don't know where I would be right now.
Exactly. And definitely we'll have you back. And so, because like I said, only within the hour we can't, but I'll ask you one thing. If you had just a minute to tell one of the most important people in your life something that would give them value for the rest of their life, and you were never going to talk to them again, what would you say?
I would say to always be true to yourself. You have to learn to love yourself and to be true to who you are. Don't try to fake anything, Because if you're true to yourself, at the end of the day, you'll feel better about it, no matter where you are. You know what I mean? That's probably what I would say. Just be always stay firm in who you are, what you believe in, and what you stand for, and then everything else will flow.
Ooh, that's good. Stand firm in who you believe in, what you are, and what you stand for, and everything else will flow. Mi gente, that is the show. Thank you so much, House of Danny B, for joining us
Thank you
today.
for having me. I was so
Yeah.
excited. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. I'm so glad that we were able to tell your story here on the Speakeasy with Idylli show. Mi gente, that is the show for today. Please make sure you like, comment, share. Please make sure you follow. Let me put that back up one more time so we can make sure. Follow DM. She's really good at getting back to all of her things. We're also going to have her website on the link there. And thank you. Thank you for just showing up here today. Thank you so much. I will see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST. Good night.
Bye. Mwah.